Here you see a listing of items that you want to keep in mind as you are troubleshooting access control lists. First one is the difference between standard and extended. With standard, we are only filtering based on the source IP address within a packet. However, with extended, we are going to be dealing with source and destination IP addresses, source and destination port numbers, protocols as well. So it's having the ability to read these different types of access control lists, whether standard versus extended, and understand the different parameters that can go in the syntax and where they are positioned to make sure that you have created the perfect entry. Because if the entry is not perfect for the way the ACL is being applied, then you're going to run into some issues. The order of the ACL is really, really important. You always got to remember that you want to have more specific entries at the top. That way there, when the ACL is processed from top down, the general entries, or pardon me, the specific entries are processed first. So if you have a 10.1.1.5 host entry, you want to make sure that if it's being denied, it's denied before the ACL processes the general entry that says permit 10.1.1.0.000.255. Because if you have them reversed, then the general entry ends up permitting 10.1.1.5, and the deny entry for 10.1.1.5 is never ever processed. So keep in mind that the order really does matter, and if you have it out of order, that might be the reason why you're not getting the results you need with your access control list. There is an implicit deny all at the end, which means that if none of the entries in the ACL are matched, everything else is denied. So if you have traffic that's being denied when you know it should be permitted, double check to see if it's that implicit deny all that is denying that traffic. A lot of times we'll see people create access control lists, and they create a whole bunch of deny entries in the ACL, and they forget to add the permit entry, which simply means that everything else is denied. So you have your specific deny entries, but if you need at least one permit entry to allow everything else, or everything will be denied. The ACL has the ability to filter traffic going through the router, so applied on an interface, either inbound or outbound, or to and from the router using the access class command in line configuration mode. So if you want to control who's allowed to telnet or SSH to your devices, you can do that as well. And then lastly, always remember this rule. One ACL per interface, per protocol, per direction is allowed. What this means is that if you're running, for example, the IP protocol, IPv4, you can have one ACL on that interface for IPv4 per direction. So technically on an interface, let's say gigabit Ethernet 0/1, you're running IPv4, you could have an ACL applied inbound and outbound. So it's one per interface, per protocol, per direction. One per interface, per protocol, per direction. However, as I've just explained to you, since it's per direction, we can technically have two on every single interface, one inbound and one outbound.